It's opening night in the NBA, and no better place to start than Cleveland, home to the reigning MVP LeBron James and their newest addition, the big Cavalier Shaquille O'Neal. The NBA on TNT Premier Week, presented by Autotrader.com. It's the Boston Celtics against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now let's take a look at our lineups, and we'll begin first with the Boston Celtics. A season ago, 62 and 23rd best in the NBA, beginning with the captain, Paul Pierce, scoring from all over the floor. They welcome back Kevin Garnett, missed the last part of last season. Kendrick Perkins is the muscle inside. The sharpshooter outside is Ray Allen. And the guy who is emerging on this team, so pivotal to their success, Rajon Rondo. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, it begins with the seventh-year player, 24-year-old LeBron James. The X-Factor, Anderson Varejao, a versatile player, coupled with Shaquille O'Neal up front. He has one purpose in mind, to help LeBron get the ring. Anthony Parker is a new addition. And the all-star from a season ago, Mo Williams. Those are the lineups. I'm with the Hall of Famer, Doug Collins. And Doug, you think about Boston, the championship a couple years ago. Last year without KG, he means so much to this team.
Well, I feel like that with Kevin Garnett back and healthy, Boston is the best defensive team in the league. They were 2 years ago when they won the championship. Kevin has to feel so excited. I can only imagine what's going through his mind right now as he's back on the floor, the place he loves to be, hoping to find a way to lead his team back to that championship that they got 2 seasons ago.
There's a big question with this Cleveland team about where Shaquille O'Neal is going to fit in. You've talked to a lot of people, Doug. You've got your own thoughts. How is it going to start? Where do you think it's going to end?
Well, when you put Shaq on your team, obviously you put a very physically imposing player. We talked to Doc Rivers before the game. He said, you know, when LeBron goes to the basket, you've got to keep your body on Shaquille O'Neal. You cannot help. Otherwise, he's going to get a dunk. He's going to live on the offensive board. So it's just going to be interesting because the dynamics of your team change. So I think as we start this game tonight, Boston is more ready to start the season. This team they're starting tonight, Kevin, has played 109 games together over the last 2 years. They've won an NBA championship, and in those 109 games, they are 85 and 24. 2 new starters on Cleveland. I think they're going to be more a work in progress. They're going to have to really lean on their defense, and this home court's going to have to bring a lot of energy tonight.
Our officials tonight, Steve Jandy, Tony Brothers, and Derek Richardson. They have been a story unto themselves. The lockout during the preseason. They're back tonight for the first time they've been on the floor. They had a conditioning and school this past weekend. They're ready to go, as are we. And welcome to another season of the NBA on TNT, the 26th year. And here is Mo Williams. There is no Delonte West tonight for the Cavaliers. Such an important part of this team. We'll talk about him and his condition a little bit later on. LeBron touches it for the first time. Rondo is on him. And Perkins works on Shaq. Shot clock at 2. Varejao.
So with Anderson Varejao, you cannot help off Shaq, but in Varejao you can roam a little bit. So Kevin Garnett will really try to give a lot of help. If Varejao hits that shot, Cleveland's going to be very difficult to beat. Not only going to knock in that 8 to 10 foot jump shot.
Good screen by Perkins. That opens up a shot for Allen. The rebound, the first for Shaquille O'Neal. LeBron for 2. Garnett was on him.
I watched LeBron before the game just for a few minutes. His shot really looks good. Chris Gent, the guy who works with him, his shooting coach, they spent all summer together traveling. And yes, LeBron did a lot of traveling, but he worked out every day. Really, consistency with his shooting is his #1 thing this year.
And there we see a nice move across the lane by Garnett. What do you hear about his knee and his physical condition?
I think he's fine. I think it's just going to get himself back into the season mentally and all. But Kevin Garnett, one of the things they lost with him last year is the ability to throw the ball in the post, too. They had to go to a speed game and a perimeter-oriented game without him.
Into Perkins, Varejao. So he's got a couple in so far.
Well, Kevin, I thought this game was going to be early jitters. Normally in a game like this, opening night, Kevin Garnett has said it's like going out on your first date. But these teams right now seem very composed right now and are shooting the ball well.
There's Parker, the alley-oop for LeBron. Weathering the early storm, a big part of what Boston's got to look at tonight.
That's what Doc Rivers told us before the game. He says we cannot let them go on runs. Well, here they are starting out 8-2. Let's see if they can come down and get a good shot.
Perkins will try to set another screen. Here is Allen. Garnett's on top. Now the switch on defense as Verajao watches Ray. And there's a turnover. As you take a look at the two-time NBA Coach of the Year, Doc Rivers on the Boston side, and Mike Brown, who was last season's Coach of the Year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Verajao fighting the defense inside of Perkins. There's no Glenn Davis on this team right now, at least. That is a developing story. More on that coming up, too, as Mo Williams fires. And it's now Mo struggled in the playoffs. He gets off to a nice start here.
Well, Doc Rivers here is going to try to come down and get his team settled down. Normally when you do this, you try to get the ball into the post. The guy who really hasn't looked at the basket yet has been Paul Pierce, who's really their most dynamic scorer. When you look at Paul Pierce out there, too, he is in great shape. Doc Rivers said this is the best shape he's seen Paul Pierce in about 2 or 3 years. And you know, Paul knows they have a great chance again to win the championship. He likes the additions they've made coming off that bench. It's going to maybe cut into his minutes a little bit, keep him fresh where he doesn't always have to guard the other team's best offensive players. They hope that Marquise Daniels will be able to do that when he comes in off the bench a little bit.
Verajao picked up the foul. Garnett working on him here. And Shaq claims his second rebound.
Nice help from behind. Looked like LeBron maybe got a little piece of that shot.
Anthony Parker, a 3 over Allen. Anthony Parker, who averaged about 11 points a game a season ago for the Toronto Raptors, has helped Cleveland, Doug, start to a 6 of 7 display on the floor.
Well, so much for Cleveland being a work in progress.
Yeah.
Everybody involved. Their defense has been terrific. Moving the basketball, shooting a high percentage. A wonderful start here for Cleveland.
And Cleveland an early 11-point lead. Let's take a look, Doug, at some of your keys tonight. The Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics.
Well, let's make this a little play here. The curtain rises tonight where there are going to be early jitters. Well, sure not for Cleveland. 6 of 7, 5 assists, off to a great start, 13-2. How about the new cast member, Shaq? We've talked about him going for his 5th title. He has 3 with Kobe, 1 with Wade. Like to get one with LeBron. And Rasheed Wallace, an NBA title with the Detroit Pistons, have played in 153 playoff games. Storylines, these two teams are the best 2 defensive teams in the league. And at the end of the night, the curtain call. Is it going to be LeBron, the reigning MVP, or is it going to be the return of KG and the Boston Celtics? Right now, Cleveland has to be ecstatic. Mike Brown, their coach, has to be so happy about the way they've come out of the gate here tonight.
Both with that refrain, defend the paint. You talk about both teams thriving on defense.
That's what wins for these teams.
Yep.
And last year, Cleveland was a much improved offensive team, and Boston's hoping to be that way this year. There's a nice block there by LeBron James, who was second in the voting last year for the best defensive player in the league. They went to Dwight Howard. LeBron was a first-team all-defensive player.
He's got 2 blocks already. LeBron, Shaq draws the quick double. Verajao, he's hit a couple shots already from outside. Here he's inside. Garnett swats it away. 3-on-2. Rondo, Pierce, and he floats in right there, right into Parker.
That's what Doc Rivers wants. He wants more fast breaking, but the only way you can fast break if you're Boston is you got to get multiple defensive stops. That's the first time really they've done that. When you're shooting 6 of 7 like Cleveland is, you're going to be taking the ball out of the basket. There's not going to be running opportunities.
Now they get the basket here. They get set on defense on the other end.
Get multiple stops. That's the key to the Celtics. That's what triggers their runs.
It's Shaq over Perkins. Shaquille O'Neal has hit his first shot. What do you think about Rondo's game?
Well, he's so key to their team. Oh, beautiful play by Mo Williams, just snatching that pass out of the air.
It's Parker. And collides into Ray Allen, who got that little shot over his left eye there with an elbow in practice. 5 stitches up there. The foul goes on Ray Allen for the first time.
That's what Doc Rivers moments ago had to say to his team in the huddle.
Hey, number one, we got to get back. You knew they would come out on all cylinders. Got to weather the storm. But to me, we're not attacking right now. We're all playing slow, passive. Let's be more aggressive right here, guys, all right? Let's be more aggressive.
Veteran Boston team, if they understand those words, they'll sink in. Here is Anthony Parker at the line. You take a look at Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, all sacrificing some part of their game when they all came together a couple years ago.
And it worked. And I think that the thing with Kevin Garnett, he really came in and changed that culture. When he brought his defense, his energy, and what he brought to that team, he became the voice of that team on the back line of that defense, and he really became their personality.
It's Pierce, knocked away by Shaquille O'Neal. And foul called inside on Shaq for the first time.
You know, Kevin, again, when you play against Cleveland, and this is the attack mode that Doc Rivers had just talked about, Paul Pierce going to the basket, and there is Shaquille O'Neal that they called with a foul. The fans here not very happy with this call, but Shaq comes over, and that's what they want him to do, defend the paint. But both of these teams want to be teams where their defense creates some offense for them. When you look at the numbers, this team did not do a good job converting in the open court, in the paint, second chance points. And Paul Pierce has really struggled here against this team. You see what his numbers were here on the road against this team, and at home he was terrific. So he would like to change that tonight, but he's also playing against first-team all-defender LeBron James.
Pretty tough. Very jealous screen into Shaq, and again through the double, and again he hits the shot from right underneath. He gives them something here in Cleveland, Doug, they've really not had before.
Well, you can throw that ball in the post, and you got to be careful about fouling him, because you get the penalty early. LeBron James will live on that free throw line.
Garnett into Shaq inside. Verjao claims the loose ball. Early 5-rebound lead for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was kicked right there as the Cavs, Doug, are shooting 73% so far to start this game.
You know, Kevin, a while ago you asked me about Rondo. Rondo is such a barometer of their team, because when he's pushing the ball and he's playing that speed game, they get those easy scores. And when he plays well, Boston rarely loses.
A three for LeBron. Garnett there to clean it up. Rondo emerging year after year. His numbers getting better year after year. Double screen right there. This is over Williams, and Rondo, people don't respect his shot, but a shot like that early on can say, you better watch me fire.
Well, you want to keep him out of the paint. You know, in his penetration, that's where he really hurts you. You want to keep him off the offensive board. And if you watch Mo Williams on that screen, he went underneath the screen and basically said, take that jump shot.
Just passing the 6-minute mark here in the first quarter. Shaq against Perkins. They've been doubling. Doesn't matter. He's 3 of 3.
Well, Shaq's really looking good here. The big thing is maintaining this over the entire season, and that's what Mike Brown is going to have to do. Really manage his minutes, keep him nice and fresh. Remember now, you've got Zydrunas Ilgauskas waiting to come off the bench. He's going to be a great backup center as Rondo with the little floater as he draws contact. If you imagine now coming in with the big Z off the bench.
Rondo's got 4. Williams on 2 with the miss right there. And here comes Rajon Rondo. They relied on him so much with Garnett out a year ago. Pierce with a 3 on the fly, transitional threes.
That's what you do when you run. When the big guys run, when Perkins run and Garnett's run, you take people back into the paint with you. That's when Allen and Pierce get those threes in the open court.
Mo Williams has bounced around the league, but has found a home here in Cleveland. The All-Star, as we said, and here inside they're looking for Shaq. Perkins the last to touch it. Shot clock is down to 6 with 4:54 to play. You talked about Ilgauskas. Here comes Zydrunas Ilgauskas, and Shaq will take a breather.
Shaq loves to get contact and then sort of right over that little left shoulder, use that backboard. Nice angle there. He gets deep post position, and listen to this Cleveland crowd really appreciating Shaquille O'Neal. This little first stint he's had on the floor. Little substitutions here now. Mo Williams going out, along with Shaquille O'Neal, Daniel Boobie Gibson coming in. And what you'll see now with no Delonte West is either LeBron James or Mo Williams. One of those guys will always have to be on the floor to handle the basketball. So now LeBron will become the primary ball handler.
3 way outside by LeBron. How about that shot? How about that with the shot clock going down to 0? They inbounded at 6.
If he makes that, good luck.
Rasheed Wallace is in, as we said. Here's Kevin Garnett with a nice feed from Rondo. And Wallace, who is coming off the bench with this Boston team, one of the reasons why he liked the way the Boston bench looked. He picked Boston over a lot of other teams. James and on Pierce. And there was a feed on top from Verajao.
Well, they emptied out the one side, and nobody talked to Paul Pierce. He was overplaying, no weak side help. So LeBron hits you with 3, and then he comes back and backdoors you for a layup.
Now Boston will turn the ball over. That has been their Achilles heel the last couple seasons.
And LeBron and the team did a nice job last year being able to get some points off turnovers. Really, that's only the easiest points they scored. Look how deep he is. And Kevin, I told you, he really worked hard on that jumper. And then now you close on him. You try to keep the ball out of his hands, and he hits you with a back door.
J.J. Hickson is going to come in the game for the first time and take the place of Verajao. Hickson is out of North Carolina State. He played there a season, 2-year players. You take a look at LeBron, and there is Hickson, 19th overall pick by the Cavaliers. Ilgauskas, this is his game from outside. Rebound by Kevin Garnett, his second. Boston has hit their last 4. Rasheed Wallace with the miss right there, and picked up by KG. Wallace screen. Verajao comes out on Rasheed for 3.
That's what he will do. He will stretch the floor. He will get in that post and score. He drags your big men away from the basket to create space in the lane. I like the fact he came out very aggressively, shooting the ball the first 2 times he touched it. I like that.
Boobie Gibson off to LeBron. Oh, and a pass inside to Hickson. There was a knock away at the jump ball. Nice defense by Rasheed Wallace inside.
Rasheed Wallace and Kevin Garnett, now you've got very active defenders back there. Those guys are very interchangeable. Now what you can do is go to Garnett in the post. You pull Rasheed Wallace out with the other big man above the 3-point line. Now all kinds of spacing for Pierce to drive that ball. Marquise Daniels. So interesting here. You start to see players a little winded right now, Kevin. We got to remember this is the first game of the year, and guys are still getting their conditioning, not playing a lot of minutes in preseason.
Shot clock is at 6. And the theft, the first turnover by Cleveland. Here is Rondo. LeBron with the rejection. Here comes Gibson. And we have a body out of bounds at the other end. So Cleveland will come the other way. Well, Rondo really hit the floor hard. What a rejection by James.
Well, one of the things you can't do is you can't expose the ball like that. Look at him. He just laid the ball out. I mean, it was a terrific block by LeBron. How about he uses his left hand so he doesn't come across with his right hand to get the foul? That's already 3 blocked shots in the game for LeBron James. What a terrific play. Those are momentum plays, too. If Rondo gets that dunk, it swings to the Celtics. LeBron gets to stop, and listen to this crowd now here with Cleveland. Those are those momentum plays at home.
Gibson, who played at the University of Texas. Rondo played at Kentucky. Marquise Daniels is in for the first time for the Boston Celtics. The biggest additions were really guys that will come off the bench, like Daniels and like Rasheed Wallace. Shot clock at 6. Gibson. Switch with Garnett on him, and now over Wallace.
Daniel Gibson was never healthy last year. Reading an article today said, my feet hurt so badly, I really couldn't work on my shot. I was off balance. Looked very quick there, very sure on that move.
Daniels has come in for Ray Allen. Pierce inside with a physical move, and it was Parker who took it. And a foul called on Paul Pierce, the first on him. First of all, the block by LeBron. Rondo's got pretty good speed, but the jump against the King is a tough thing to do. LeBron James has put a 9. Cats on top.
Welcome back to Cleveland. Hello, everyone. I'm Cheryl Miller. Now, 2 familiar faces you will not see tonight are Delonte West and Glenn Davis. Delonte West has admitted that he is bipolar and has struggled with depression. He has had some off-court issues. In September, he was charged with 2 counts of gun possession along with several traffic citations. And he's also dealing with personal issues. Now, Danny Ferry, the general manager, told me that West is currently inactive until doctors clear him. I spoke to Delonte this morning. He said that he is feeling much better, and he's just taking baby steps now. As far as Glenn Davis is concerned, he will miss the next 6 weeks after fracturing his right thumb. According to a league source, the injury happened Sunday night when he was in an altercation with a former college teammate. Now, Danny Ainge, the team's president of basketball operations, announced that Davis will be suspended indefinitely until the organization gets more information, and that the incident with Davis and meet with his representative, guys. So 2 key plays in last year's playoffs aren't here.
All right, Cheryl, thank you. We're under 2 minutes now to play here in this first quarter. Cleveland has been thriving, Doug, with points in the paint early on.
Yeah, they have 16. Just to put that in perspective, they averaged 36 a game last year. So we talk about the addition of Shaquille O'Neal and what it might do to that paint. Here's Jamario Moon, who surprised everybody in the preseason. He was 9 of 18 from behind that three-point line, shot 50%. So talked to Mike Brown before the game. He was sort of shocked at how well he shot the ball in preseason. More of a defender.
Pierce is in with Rondo, the 2 starters. Now Sheldon Williams has come in with Rasheed Wallace and Marquise Daniels. The shot clock here is down to 7. James is on Daniels, who played last year for Indiana, and gets a nice move inside. Wheeling for 2.
Don't let that sleepy look fool you. This guy's a competitor, and Kevin, he has got a chance to really help this team, especially playing multiple positions. You see he's guarding LeBron James now so that Paul Pierce can rest a little bit on the defensive end and not use so much energy up, so he will be fresher in the 4th period.
He can really play about 2 or 3 positions, can't he?
Exactly. He'll play the point guard offense, but I think he'll struggle trying to guard a point guard, but Marquise Daniels can guard the 2 and the 3. He'll post you up. But what they really like now is with Eddie House coming into the game, he'll go to the point guard situation instead of Rondo, and this really frees up Eddie House to be a shooter on this team and not have to worry about handling the basketball.
Rondo, in addition to leaving the game, picks up his first personal foul. Hits in a screen. Daniels on James. Shot clock at 5. Under a minute to play here in the first quarter. Ruby Gibson with the miss. And we have a little shove and a foul, and it will be called. J.J. Hickson will pick up his first personal foul.
No, Kevin, as well as Cleveland has played in this first period, Boston only down 9. You got a chance here to get a 2-for-1 possession, possibly go in down 5 or 7 if they can get a defensive stop. So they really have weathered the storm and the emotion if they can get a couple buckets here in this period.
Here's with the miss. Rebound by Zydrunas Ilgauskas. No fouls to give either way in the final half minute of the first. LeBron is 4 of 6 with 9. Pierce is on him. Pierce, House for 3. And picked up with Ilgauskas and Sheldon Williams banging inside with 14.2 to play here in the first. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have led by as many as 14. The Celtics have not had a lead. The foul goes on Ilgauskas for the first time. And Sheldon Williams will be at the free throw line. Here's a look now at the upcoming national TV schedule. ESPN tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern. New Orleans at San Antonio. That'll be followed by Utah at Denver. The NBA on TNT Thursday. Doug and I will be in Chicago for the San Antonio Spurs and the Bulls. Then Denver and Portland with Marv, Reggie Miller, and the Czar. NBA TV on Sunday, 5:30 Eastern Time. New Orleans at Boston. There goes Moon. There goes Hickson. Shaq is back in the game. Here comes Mo Williams back in 2 for the Cavs.
Yeah, they have 14 seconds here to go, 14.2 to be exact. So what do? You put your shooters on the floor. So you've got Shaq out there. You'll put him at the rim and let LeBron handle the basketball. And you got Z out there who can shoot the ball with Gibson and Mo Williams. So this is a great lineup for Cleveland, where if they help on LeBron, he's got a 3-point shooter. You got Shaq at the rim, or he can go get the finish himself.
Daniels on James. Good steal by Marquise Daniels, but not in time to get one to go in. But they stop it right there. Now Cleveland's big lead was 14 points, 21-7. Boston closes the quarter, Doug. You talked about it, on a 14-7 run. So at the end of one, it's the Cavs by 7 on TNT. Cavaliers on top by 7. They've led by as many as 14. NBA on TNT Premier Week is presented by Autotrader.com. Moments ago, our Cheryl Miller caught up with Doc Rivers.
Well, Coach, looking at that first quarter, what did the Cavs do well, and what would you like to see from your team?
Well, you know, we got 21 points, and we turned the ball over the first 4 or 5 times down the floor. We can't let them get out in transition and get easy buckets. That's what stressed the league. Really, I'm happy. I mean, we weathered the storm. We're down 7 points. We haven't played at all yet, so we're okay.
Well, there was a spark at the end. You guys did finish the first quarter strong.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, we finished the quarter strong. We can get out to a good start. We're right back to a game.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
It's kind of in their game plan with the emotion of Shaq making his Cavalier debut and, of course, welcoming back the reigning MVP and LeBron James. Here comes Daniels, who travels as he goes down the lane. Cleveland dug a season ago, had the #1 road a home record at 39-2. Decent on the road, terrific at home.
And really, they only lost one game that they tried to win, and that was they lost to the Lakers here. They basically did not play their players the last game of the season against Philadelphia. It's going to be a blocking foul. So I mean, really, in essence, they lost one game at home that they were trying to win last year. So that's how good they were here. What's going to be interesting to me now is they've gone to their bench here. And this is where you're going to really miss Delonte West being out there, because they'd like to have Mo Williams and Delonte West together right now as LeBron James rests. Remember last year how many times we saw them when LeBron would rest, other teams would go on a little bit of a run and Mike Brown would have to bring him back in the game. Cleveland starts out the season 4 out of 5, 4 games out in 5 nights. So this is a tough start for this team. So they're going to have to go to their bench here early, especially in the season.
Mo Williams in his 7th season out of Alabama. Last season, he and Steve Nash, the only 2 in the NBA that averaged at least 46% from the field, 43% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. Williams, Daniels, Allen, House, and Rasheed Wallace in there for the Boston Celtics, and the shot clock dug now down to 5. House double. A 3 by Eddie House.
He loves to screen on the ball, and if you have any confusion, he's going to pop, and he has a quick trigger. That was a quick catch and shoot. We've seen Eddie House get hot, and he's capable of throwing in 5 or 6 3-pointers in a hurry.
Gibson and Williams in the backcourt. Here's a 3 by Mo, and ricochets out of bounds. And up front, they've got Ilgauskas, Varejao, and Jamario Moon. Cavaliers have missed 5 consecutive shots.
That's what Doc Rivers talks about. He says, you know, we win with the defensive end. He didn't like the turnovers. Kevin, we had talked earlier in the year that, early in the telecast, that turnovers were a problem last year for the Celtics.
Gibson on Ray Allen.
So you go to that small backcourt, and now Ray Allen has the advantage. I mean, how often do you see Ray Allen posting up? So that's now you've got that small backcourt. This is what happened last year in the playoffs against Orlando. Many instances, they were caught with 3 small guards on the floor with Mo Williams, Gibson, and Delonte West.
Ilgauskas with the miss. Ray Allen is now 1 of 3 from the floor. Boston's on a 19-9 run. Mo Williams on Ray here. Williams with the screen, little pick and roll. As he was rolling down the lane with 10:03 to play here in the second. Mo Williams picks up number 1.
Well, Ray Allen had not got a shot to go. This is scary if you're Cleveland, because you hate to see a scorer see that ball go in the basket. He knocks in that little floater. And I expect them to try to go back to Ray Allen. But Sheldon Williams, Boston, we talked to Doc Rivers before the game. He's happy with Sheldon Williams, obviously a very high draft pick. And he said the big thing he is trying to do with Sheldon is to tell him to get rid of the disappointment that everybody said that he's been a bust. He's got a great chance to come in here in Boston and play a role, maybe like the Leon Poe did, who now is on Cleveland, coming off that bench, playing some tough minutes, giving some physical ability and toughness around that rim. And there's Leon Poe. He is injured, recovering from surgery, and now plays for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
7-0 run by the Boston Celtics. Here's Moon, and House goes on Mo Williams. Deflected by House, and the shot clock will be at 6. It goes back a couple years ago with Boston when they had James Posey and they had P.J. Brown. They were trying to, the Celtics, maybe get that same kind of feel for this year's team.
Exactly. They really wanted to get bigger on that front line. They did with Rasheed Wallace, also adding Sheldon Williams, so they were able to do that.
Moon inside lost it. It's been 5 minutes since the Cleveland Cavaliers put something through from the field. That's the second turnover for the Cavs. and Allen comes the other way.
That's a combination of good Celtic defense, and it's been bad Cleveland offense. They're really out of sync right now.
Two terrific defensive teams, as we talked about before, highly ranked in all the important categories like points allowed and defensive field goal. Here is 5 seconds left on the shot clock as Gibson watches Allen. Verjao claims the rebound. And the Cavs the other way. Jamario Moon. Here's a guy who's played for 19 different teams in 9 years. He hopes to stay here in Cleveland for a while.
Remember I talked about when you take LeBron out of the game last year, how often we saw Cleveland go flat? Well, that's what we're seeing right now. No spark, but no place to go right now to get a field goal, and they're going right to Ray Allen in the post up this time against Mo Williams. They'll let him get to the free throw line, and that big Cleveland lead could be gone after Ray Allen goes to the line to shoot 2 free throws.
Mo Williams just picked up his second personal foul. Cavaliers led by 14. As you see, their lead is down to 2. Live in Cleveland, an aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires help you get there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. Here in Cleveland, it's a 2-point lead for the Cavs. LeBron's got 9, Shaq with 6, Paul Pierce has got 6. No shortage of MVPs in the game. Paul Pierce, the Finals MVP in 08. Kevin Garnett was the league MVP in 04, an All-Star Game MVP in 03. LeBron, last year's NBA MVP, as well as a couple in the All-Star Game. And how about Shaq? In 2000, the league MVP, a 3-time Finals MVP, a 3-time All-Star MVP. A lot of hardware on display, a lot of big time, a lot of star power here in Cleveland tonight.
And you can see Shaq getting a rest. He actually played about the first 6 or so minutes of this game, got the team off to a great start, and Ray Allen misses a free throw. You don't see that very often, but I'm sure Mike Brown is trying to manage the minutes, and with Shaquille O'Neal, the one thing about it is you got to keep those minutes as such where you get him back out there before he gets too stiff sitting on the bench. So I would expect him probably maybe to try to play the last 7 minutes of the first half and try to finish this half strong, get LeBron back out on the floor as he is right now and try to make a little push like they did to start the game.
Allen, by the way, was a 95% free throw shooter a season ago. That was a career high. LeBron is in the game. Mo Williams looking for Ilgauskas. Here's a little shove on the perimeter. Rasheed Wallace, he picks up number 1. The Boston Celtics drew a lot of fouls a season ago. Doug, they got a lot of technical fouls as well. Now they got Rasheed Wallace in the mix.
Well, I think Doc Rivers even saw it at practice the other day. They were getting a little bit chirpy, and he put a 30-minute window of silence on the team. Nobody could talk for 30 minutes.
Here's Allen. They got numbers the other way. Marquise Daniels trying to take it in. Nice defense on the far side by Parker. Cavaliers have missed 8 consecutive shots. There's Anthony Parker. He is well traveled too. Verjao guarded by Sheldon Williams. Shove. Another foul. Clock at 8:10 here in the second.
That was Anthony Parker's brother-in-law that just committed. That foul, Sheldon Williams.
Sheldon Williams picks up his second, and here is Anderson Verjao at the free throw line. With Cleveland trying to extend their lead, the Cavaliers at the line tonight 4 of 4, now 5 of 5. Gear up for the new season at the NBAstore.com and receive 20% off any order. You'll find the best selection of jerseys, t-shirts, fleeces, and more. Hurry, the sale will end at midnight Pacific. NBAstore.com, one store, every team.
Kevin, we spoke of Shaq a while ago. We're also watching Kevin Garnett get a good rest as well. So Doc Rivers said, I've got to fight that urge to overplay Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen and Paul Pierce early in the season. I've got to get their rest. I've got to manage their minutes.
Doctor's thinking about 30 minutes a game for Kevin. Here is Wallace hitting a second 3-point shot.
Well, he can do that now. He'll stretch that floor. You help on Ray Allen at all and you don't get back to him. That's already 2 threes he has knocked down. He's only 13 of 39 in the preseason, so just starting to get his legs in shape. That's where you really see that shot start to come around when you get those legs ready to take that long jumper.
We've got our first tie. Verjao. Anderson Verjao. How about his scoring tonight? That's kind of found money. He's got 8 points. Cavaliers break a drought from the field of about 7.5 minutes. Williams to House, and House to Wallace, and Verjao quickly converges. Shot clock is down to 4. Parker watching Ray Allen. Marquise Daniels with a nice move inside, and the Celtics once again have tied the game at 34. Boston shooting 50%, and the Cavaliers at 46%. Wallace caught Varejao on the chops. And Rasheed Wallace picks up his second personal foul. Shaq is going to re-enter here at the 6:45 mark of the second quarter. I've always kind of wondered, Doug, what a team that gets Shaquille does. Like when Phoenix got him from Miami. Now, what has Cleveland found out about the physical conditioning about Shaquille O'Neal?
Well, I think Shaq is in great shape. You look at him, his weight is good, and I think the big thing is he's got to stay on that regimen that he did so well in Phoenix. He really didn't miss a game last year due to injury. Any game he missed was they held him out because it was 4 and 5 or 3 and 4 nights or whatever, and they tried to manage that. But Shaq actually was in great physical condition last year. He had a great season. Unfortunately, that team just never gelled last year, and he's in a situation now to come here. This is a perfect team for him. The last year of his contract, he could come in here. They didn't have to give up anything to give him, really. They gave up Pavlovich, his contract, and Ben Wallace. So Danny Ferry did a terrific job. You see Shaquille's numbers, but the big thing is he's got to stay on that program that kept him so physically fit and ready to play last year and stay away from injuries.
All we talked about was the Phoenix athletic training staff and how good they were in getting him on a brand new program.
And that's important when you get to be, Shaq's age and you've got all that wear and tear and running up and down the court. The big thing is maintenance, keeping yourself fresh and healthy.
Shot clock at 13. Perkins will come in at the next dead ball. Here is Sheldon Williams. He'll set a screen or try to on LeBron. Marquise Daniels. Rebound by Parker inside. And we got a little shove on the perimeter. With 6:06 to play here in the second. Marquise Daniels picks up his first.
Kevin, when you watch Anthony Parker, I think, he came out of Bradley, and he was sort of given the tag of soft, didn't defend, really, just shot jump shots. He's really worked. He's much stronger, and he's an underrated defender, and he went up and got a nice rebound that last time. So I think you're going to see more of a complete game for him. We talked to Mike Brown before the game, and he said, Anthony Parker and Jamario Moon are still trying to figure out the defensive intricacies of this. It's a sophisticated, complex defense. They brought some habits with them from other teams, and they're trying to figure out what the schemes are of Cleveland. And he really likes what he's seen in Jamario Moon and Anthony Parker. Going to give him versatility. They can go out there and now have some bigger backcourts and not be always small on that back, which really hurt them in many occasions, especially against Orlando when they had to play so small in the Eastern Conference Finals.
We always talk about unselfish superstars and players that are looking for teams. They want to play with unselfish superstars.
That's why the rich get richer.
Yeah, like LeBron. They want to come and play here. Allen, Gibson on him. Shot clock down to 5. All kinds of screens set up like there from Perkins and by Shaq into the hole. That is Ray Allen with a nice slashing move. Makes his second. He's got 5.
Well, you could see Shaq was back there, and then Ray Allen just with a quick burst went right around him, and no one to protect the rim. So they're trying to keep Shaq around that lane as much as possible on those screen rolls and not expose him too much out on the floor.
Here's LeBron, and Marquise Daniels is on him. James is 4 and 7. Help from Rasheed. No use.
I think that's the one area of LeBron's game that you're going to see continue to grow. I think he's going to become a better post player. Really does not post that often, but we've seen him down on that block more tonight than I saw him a lot last year for Cleveland.
Well, we know he tries to work on something new every offseason. There it is right there. Here's Daniels. Perkins now in. Pierce with James defending a 3 for Paul Pierce. Boston's third all-time leading scorer. And he's just given the Celtics their first lead tonight and a 15-point turnaround here in the first half. Cavs were up by 14 at one time. Shaq with his first miss tonight.
You notice there's no double teaming of Shaq.
Right.
Perkins going to play him straight up. Teams are not going to double team anymore because he's a very good passer, and they're going to make him score over the top of the defense. You don't want to front him and give him lobs. You don't want to leave him. Here's that play I talked about when Shaq got out and got exposed on that pick and roll. Ray Allen goes right to the rim with no help. And this is Paul Pierce knocking down that 3. Nice little shovel pass from Kendrick Perkins. Cleveland with the one trailing by 1.
Welcome back. We needed it. Yeah, we're good. Yes, all part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so you look good. You're thin. Lost some weight?
Yeah, a little bit.
Damn, man.
Welcome back, baby. Welcome back. I don't know if I said it, but welcome back. Thank you. How you doing? You doing all right?
Yeah, on the line with 2 shots.
Two of the bright young head coaches in the NBA. Here's Paul Pierce, leading scorer so far for the Boston Celtics. He's got 9 at the line with Hall of Famer Doug Collins and Hall of Famer Cheryl Miller. Kevin Harlan, 4.5 to play here in the first half. I take a look at the Boston bench, and Doc Rivers has gotten a plus 15 points from his bench compared to Cleveland.
17-2. So, you know, Doc Rivers had talked about wanting a deeper team, wanting a more versatile team. He's gotten that. Cleveland's gone to their bench only 1 of 7. Remember now when Cheryl Miller interviewed Doc Rivers at the end of the first quarter, he said, hey, we turned the ball over too much. We can't turn the ball over. Only 1 turnover in this quarter. So Doc Rivers has to be happy about that. And Mike Brown's got to be a little concerned, although I think he expected this. They got a little disjointed when he went to the bench. And I think that's to be expected right now with this team as they're trying to feel themselves out with some different players.
Well, he says rotation-wise, Doug, he's going to have to experiment for a while. LeBron with a game-high 13. Pierce now at 11. What a pass by LeBron James. Jamario Moon skying for the 2. Moon with his first 2 in a Cleveland Cavs uniform. Nice ball rotation. Pierce got it from Perkins inside. That inside-outside game is what Boston wants. Rondo with the quick hand, deflects it out of bounds. Rondo out there with Pierce, Perkins, Allen, and KG, the starting 5 on the floor.
Now, beautiful play coming out of the timeout. Jamario Moon, you see that tremendous leaping ability. Look, Kevin Garnett was there, just could not get up and deflect that pass.
Look at Shaquille O'Neal. Faces the cover of Sports Illustrated with LeBron this week. And he knows his place. He knows his pecking order on this team. Saw some of those comments in the pregame show. 3.5 to play, and the shot clock now down to 4. Look at the defense of Boston, Doug. You know, when the best players buy into the defense, the whole team buys into it, don't
you
they?
Bet.
LeBron over Pierce. Verjao keeps it alive, volleyballs it out.
Well, that's what Verjao does. He gives you extra possessions. Let's see if Cleveland can cash in.
Shaq!
Just power. Just absolutely back Kendrick Perkins down and just muscle that ball into the basket.
37-year-old Shaquille O'Neal. Ray Allen over James. Rebound by Shaq, who collects number 6. He's got 8 points. LeBron has 4 assists so far. Ray Allen is now on James. Pierce is going to go on Parker. And Perkins, no surprise, on Shaq. Here comes Rajon Rondo. 4 points so far. Ray Allen for 3, and the 3-point shot has been huge for the Celtics tonight. As Doug, they are now plus 12 points in 3-point shooting.
That's why they want to run. That's when Ray Allen really gets most of his offense, is that early offense pull-up 3.
Nice move inside by Parker.
Nice little floater there coming off that little down screen.
He doesn't look 34, does he, Parker?
He looks great.
Yeah, he does. Rondo against James. Celtics thought they might see a little bit of that. And a whistle down low. And a foul. Looks like Perkins has picked up his first. He has. Shaq inside, squeezing it for 2. Looks good tonight on opening night in the NBA on TNT.
You know, one thing about me is that I'm a realist. He's the best player in the world. I know that. My children know that. Everybody realizes that in the world. I once had that title when I was his age. But now I'm 37, on my way out. So it'd be very foolish of me to try to come in and take over something that's already, in my eyes, was pretty damn good. You know, it's fortunate for me to be inserted into a good team and them not lose anybody. So I'm not crazy.
You know, the great players late in their career are an interesting thing for a coach to deal with because the player thinks upstairs he can still do it. The body says something different. So Mike Brown's got an interesting set of circumstances in front of him.
Yeah, it's a great spot, though, for Shaq to come into this because they play the kind of the basketball, the style in the East that's a little bit more conducive to what he wants to do where he's at this stage of his career. And he's a very good passer, too. That's the one thing about Shaq. If you double team him, he will find the open man. Look at this great defense by Pearson. Finally reaches in and gets the foul.
That's a second on Paul Pierce. The shot clock was down to 2 as well. I think a lot of people appreciate the defense that Paul Pierce puts out every night. Second NBA All defense last year. Let's go to Atlanta and Ernie Johnson.
All right, thank you, Kev. Coming up shortly on the T-Mobile Halftime Report, Kenny, Charles, and C. Webb will all be here, and we'll be joined by the newest member of the Turner Sports family, Kevin McHale. Still to come tonight, we'll bring the Lakers championship ring ceremony and then the season opener, Lakers and Clippers. Right now, back to Cleveland, Kevin and the Hall of Famer Doug Collins.
EJ, thank you very much. Boy, if you want to see some Kevin McHale TV, learning on the job, those Timberwolves broadcasts a handful of years ago were pretty interesting.
Yeah, with you as his partner and team winning about 10 games, and you guys seeing how much you can eat during the telecast.
Here comes Pierce in for Garnett. Bumped by Verajao, and Perkins left free to fire. And Big Perkins went from outside, his first 2 points. No rebounds in his 12 minutes on the floor.
Well, he's sort of like Verajao. If he steps out and knocks that jumper down, it's what you call a while ago found money.
Parker and Williams, Verajao, LeBron, and Shaq with the screen on Allen. Gives just enough room for Parker to fire. Verajao can't tap it in. Picked up by Perkins with Rondo, Allen, KG Pierce. All out there, Perkins on the other wing. This is Ray Allen outside, another 3. He's at 2, Pierce is at 2 threes. Rasheed Wallace is at 2 threes for Boston.
Almost sound like a broken record, but again, that's why Boston wants to run. That's when Ray Allen is effective, and that's why Doc Rivers talked to us before the game about we want to push the tempo.
Allen's got all 11 of his points in the second quarter. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Step back here a little bit, Doug. The curtain rises was your theme tonight on the NBA season on these 2 well-thought-of teams. People predict that these might be the final 2 teams in the Eastern Conference, and the opening night jitters may have struck Boston a little bit, but Cleveland came out terrific, took a 14-point lead early.
And it looked like that Boston was on their heels early. Doc Rivers took an early timeout. They were down 13-2. He said, guys, we're not being aggressive. We're not attacking. We're turning the ball over too much. His team got the message, and I think the bench gave him a huge lift to give them the lead.
Shot clock at 2. Look at LeBron weave inside. LeBron James with a game-high 16 points. He was number 2 in scoring a year ago. The Cavaliers have a foul to give. 16 on the shot clock here. And Perkins, who just hit from there, missing. And nice rebound by Paul Pierce.
And you saw Paul Pierce, the first thing he did was he got that rebound. He looked up at the shot clock to see how much time was left here in the quarter. Very veteran play. Now Doc Rivers is going to get a timeout. He'd be able to substitute, get his shooters on the floor, have a chance to get the last score going in before halftime. So nice play by Paul Pierce.
It was interesting because Boston, Doug, is one of the few teams, if maybe the only team in the NBA, that does not now do a game day shoot-around. Something new this year for them.
Well, they went to a sleep expert, and he talked to them about the importance of guys getting a certain amount of rest so they don't do the shoot-around. And they have a walkthrough at the hotel. And also, they've moved their practices back to noon when they are at home. He said, I want our guys to be able to sleep maybe from by the time they get settled down after a game, maybe 2 to 8 or 9 or 10 or 11 o'clock, get 7, 8, 9 hours of sleep, get to the practice facility, and have a good day's practice. So we got an older team, and we think sleep and rest is going to be more important than any kind of walkthrough with this team.
Boston has not won here in Cleveland since December of 2004. They've lost 8 straight regular season games, 3 in the playoffs. You also talked, Doug, in the open of the show about new cast members. What do you think about the new players you've seen on the floor for both Cleveland and Boston?
Well, I love Marquise Daniels coming in, what he did for the team. I thought Sheldon Williams gave them nice minutes. Rasheed Wallace. I thought what Boston's guys did, I really liked. Shaquille got off to a very, very good start. I think Jamario Moon is still feeling himself out. We've seen some good minutes from Anthony Parker. So I think both of these teams are going to continue to get better as the season goes along. And obviously the big key is health. I mean, you've got key people. Kevin Garnett coming off that injury. I know he does not like to talk about it, but when he's healthy, he makes them the best defensive team in the NBA. And if they can keep Shaq healthy and LeBron, they've got some nice pieces, get Delonte West back. This should be a lot of fun. And Orlando, I mean, don't go to sleep on Orlando now. I mean, they have done a nice job down there. They are deep. They are hungry. So there's going to be 3 terrific teams in the East.
Officials are taking a look and trying to figure out if our time is correct as we take a look at Shaquille O'Neal and some of the teammates he's had. He's played, of course, with Kobe Bryant. They won the 3 championships there. Won a championship in Miami, Doug, with Dwayne Wade. Both MVPs. Here is another MVP, a 2-time MVP, and Steve Nash down in Phoenix for the last year and a half. And now he's with the reigning MVP, LeBron James.
So I think when you go back and listen to that soundbite that we just played recently, Shaq knows where he is in his career. Look at the amount of points he scored. He'd like to get that 5th ring. There are 4 guys in the NBA right now that have 4 that are active. You got Derek Fisher and Kobe Bryant with the Lakers. You got Tim Duncan with the Spurs, who are revitalized, going for number 5. And Shaq would like to get number 5. And he said, I'd like to get a ring for the king. LeBron his 1st. Interestingly enough, this is LeBron James' 7th year in the NBA. And Michael Jordan won his 1st championship, his 7th year with the Chicago Bulls.
They're checking to see if LeBron James beat the shot clock on the Cavaliers' possession just moments ago. As you take a look at Steve Javie. Now watch the amber light up there. That will be the clue and the signal. And it is a violation, as you can see. So some good piece of officiating there by Javie Brothers and Richardson on this opening night.
Well, that's that part of the new rule that they put in about being able to see whether shots counted, whether they were 2s or 3s. You could go to the video and review that. So getting the call right. And I love what the NBA is doing in these kind of situations. They can review it to see who the ball went out of bounds on, who should get possession of the basketball. I like the rule. And you can see right there, they get it right, which is in the end result, Kevin, is what anybody wants, is just get the call right.
Doug, also in the open, as we take a look at some of the officials tonight, including Derek Richardson. Here's some of the instant replay scenarios. You can read them for yourself, but brand new for or tweaked even for the NBA season this year. So the final 10 seconds of our first half. Clippers and Lakers are coming up next from Los Angeles. Lakers will be getting their championship rings. Here is Pierce leaning into Moon. He traveled. At least that was the call by one of the officials.
Let's see, though, was the foul before the walk. That's what the conversation is going to be. It's going to be a technical foul here, I think, on Garnett. They're going to talk right now. I think Steve Javie and Derek Richardson. Did the foul precede the walk?
You mentioned this earlier. Boston got a ton of tees last season. As you take a look at Garnett, it is so great to have him back healthy. That's the final 25 games of the regular season. The playoffs, of course, had surgery on the knee. Let's take one more look.
There's the pump fake. There's the foul, and then I think you're going to see them get 2 free throws here. I think Paul Pierce is going to shoot 2 free throws, and then I think Cleveland is going to shoot a technical free throw.
Other thing you talked about, Doug, in your open was that defense is ahead of offense at this time. Did you see much of that in the first half? Do you have a feel for, through just 24 minutes of basketball, where we stand there?
I think that's always the case, especially early in training camp. Here's Daniel Gibson going to the line and missing the free throw, and now Paul Pierce will go to the line and shoot 2 free throws. So, as I thought before, they got together and realized that the foul occurred before the walk. And again, just get the call right. Referees now have huddled twice and made the right decision.
Moon picked up the foul, and here are the rankings from a season ago defensively for these two teams.
See, I think when you hang your hat on defense, that's something you can always do, Kevin. Every night you can defend, and then on those nights that you play good offense, I mean, you're going to always find a way to win the basketball game. So that's what these two teams do. I think Cleveland is going to be an improved offensive team once the pieces all get together, and I think Boston will be too. One of the things you don't want to do is put your defense under such duress every night that you can't score, that you just, all these games you play tight games. And both these teams, when the Celtics won the championship, they were plus 10-point differential. Last year Cleveland was plus 9, so they played so many games 10 points or more that LeBron James didn't even play in 14 of the fourth quarters.
Pierce has 13 points. Gibson, good if it goes. And that's how we finish things off in the first half. The Cleveland Cavaliers, LeBron James had 14 points, the only Cav in double figures. Boston had 2 in double digits. Pierce with the 13 we just talked about. And Ray Allen with 11. Garnett played 14 minutes, had 4 points, 3 rebounds. Boston has closed out both quarters well. In the first quarter, they closed it out 14-7. Second quarter, the one we just finished, Boston closes it out 10-3. Let's go over to Cheryl Miller.
Well, thanks a lot, Kevin. Well, Paul, in that first quarter, you guys weathered the storm, settled down. Was it the defense that got you back in it?
Yeah, we really settled down. We knew they were going to come out high for the home opener, so we just had to take our time. I thought we rushed a little bit, settled down. Our defense started to settle in, and that's when we began to play ball.
Both teams trying to figure out how to use their new additions. You got to be pleased with what Wallace and Williams and Marquise Daniels provided.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Our bench really came in and got the job done. They really got us back in the game, and it carried over in the second quarter.
All right, thanks for your time. Coming up after the break, we'll be sending it down to our Atlanta studios for the T-Mobile halftime report. It's a full studio with Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and C-Webb, and also Kevin McHale.
Boston Celtics dug out of a 14-point deficit to lead by 6 at halftime moments ago. The Cavaliers coach, Mike Brown.
So we got to do a better job on the defensive end of the floor, get the ball from one side of the floor to the other on the offensive end, and we're going to be fine. But it starts on that D. Let's go, man. Come on.
With Hall of Famer Doug Collins, Kevin Harlan, thank you for joining us. What do the numbers tell you through the first half, Doug?
Well, I think if we'd have gone into the Celtic locker room, we'd have talked about Doc Rivers talking to his team. Cleveland started out 8 of 11, got off to the hot start, finished up 9 of 28. So when Boston defends, what do? They now can run. So they got into the open court. They outscored the Cavaliers by 15 in that second quarter alone from the three-point line. Bench came in plus 17. Fast breaking, all the numbers for the Celtics after the slow start. And this was really the difference in the game. Eddie House came in with that trick trigger, knocked down a long three-pointer, a little penetration, and Kendrick Perkins a little shovel pass out to Paul Pierce. He had 2 threes. Ray Allen had 2 threes, both of his in the transitional game. And this is what happens when your big men run. Look at the point guard gets caught down low. LeBron tries to help. You swing the ball. Verjao cannot get to the three-point shooter, and Pierce knocks down the 3 in the open court. That was the difference in that second quarter when they outscored them 30-17.
So here is Perkins working around Shaq beginning the second half for the Boston Celtics. And Perkins now has 4. Perkins out there with Pierce and Garnett. Rondo will be the point of attack on defense. Ray Allen is the 5th Celtic on the floor. Shaq is out there with Mo Williams, Verjao, Parker, and LeBron with the ball. Ron James, 5 of 9, shooting in that first half. Shot clock is down to 2. This is over Allen. LeBron James.
It was good defense, just better offense. If you make LeBron James take contested 2-point jump shots, you've got a better chance to defend him. You can't let him break you down off the dribble. Allen did a nice job. That's the consistency in that jump shot that LeBron is looking for.
Rondo dishing to Perkins. This is over Verjao. Perk has got 6. He has started 3 of 4.
Starting that penetration now, you see Cleveland not doing a good job guarding that dribbler. When you get broken down off the dribble, bad things happen.
It's Shaquille O'Neal with Perkins defending and Pierce rebounding. Claims his first rebound does Paul. The Celtic high 13 points. Garnett with the screen, pick and roll. Allen to KG, Garnett hits it hard. Typical KG. That's a second personal foul on Shaquille O'Neal. Are there some hold-your-breath moments for him, Doug?
Yeah, I think all of Boston is holding their breath right now. I mean, here's KG coming back from a knee injury. I think he's probably got the wind knocked out of him. He's going to step up to the line, and this is vintage KG here. There's Danny Ainge. His hair has gotten pretty gray here in the last year or so. It's good to see Danny back after having that heart condition last year, right before the playoffs started. I mean, remember, what was it, about a 48 period of time, they found out Kevin Garnett could not play in the playoffs. Danny Ainge had a slight heart attack. I hate to use the word slight heart attack. That means it's happened to somebody else kind of thing. Yes, anytime you have a heart attack, it's serious. But Danny bounced back, and he said he's changed his diet. He's exercising more. It's good to see Danny back with the team.
He sure has put together a nice ball club, hasn't he?
Well, that's what you do. You start finding out what do you need to win another championship.
And Mo Williams looking to go inside. That's a Cleveland turnover. They've got 5. There is Zhao, collides as the Celtics comes the other way, and Rondo was the one who was flattened. Anderson Varejao picks up his second foul. This is in Salt Lake City back in February, and he missed, Kevin Garnett did, 25 regular season games. Actually, Doug and I were there along with Cheryl in Salt Lake, and you could see after the injury he was trying to loosen that leg up, and the disappointment on his face, I think, is what I'll remember the most. He is such a conscientious team guy. Rondo with a great reverse as he zips right by Anderson Varejao.
See what's happened. Boston's moving the ball now, and they're taking advantage of the lack of speed on the front line for Cleveland. So they're getting to the rim. They're getting easy scores. Cleveland is bogged down right now. You heard Mike Brown talking at halftime. When you play against Boston, you've got to move the ball. You can't hold it, and it's got to go from side to side and make their defense work.
James from outside. LeBron, who began so well now, is 6 of 11 shooting from the floor.
Great give and go here. Rondo with the cut. How good was Rondo last year? Remember those playoffs, Kevin? We were very fortunate. You and I did the series against Chicago, that incredible 7-game series. Rondo, Derrick Rose, what a battle of the point guard position that Boston finally wins it in 7.
Garnett trying with the alley-oop on the pass from Rondo, and then over Varejao, who just picked up his 3rd personal foul. Garnett exploits him inside, so KG with 8 points and 3 rebounds. Varejao has 3 fouls, and the Boston Celtics, after trailing by 14 points in the first quarter, have started this third on a 10-2 run. We're talking about Kevin Garnett, who missed the last 25 games of the regular season, and you can see the numbers with KG and without. He was a first-team NBA All-Defensive selection last year, even though he missed a quarter of the season.
Well, not only did it affect their defense, it affected their offense. They lost their post game. They had to go to a speed game. Rondo looking to push that ball up. They played a much higher tempo, which compromises your defense. Tonight, they get off to a slow start defensively. Cleveland 8 of their first 11. Since then, 10 of 31. Defense has created offense. That's why they have taken a 14-point lead.
James with another turnover. That's his second of the game. Here comes Ray Allen. You see the run over the last just under 5 minutes to play. Allen with the drive. And picked up by Shaq. So LeBron has 2 turnovers. And the Cavs, as a team, have turned it over 6 times. Garnett with the rebound, and Kevin has clutched onto his 4th right there.
See, what Kendrick Perkins is trying to do is push Shaq as far away from the basket as he can. Don't front him. Don't give him any layups or dunks, and make him make shots.
Mismatch here, Varejao against Rondo. Shot clock at 9.
Defensive 3 seconds.
There's a defensive 3 right there. Let's go to Cheryl Miller.
Well, Kevin and Doug, in the first half, you were talking about both teams still working their way into game shape. Well, this season, Doc Rivers changed the Celtics' training schedule. No more shoot-arounds on game days, and all their practices start at noon. Doc made the switch after receiving the advice of sleep medicine specialist Dr. Charles Czeisler of the Harvard Medical School and Brigham Women's Hospital. Dr. Czeisler said, there is evidence that you can significantly improve your free throw percentage and reaction speed if you optimize your levels of sleep. And right now, What are the Celtics shooting? 55% and 86% from the free throw line. I like this, Doug. You sleep, you shoot better.
Go inside and 8:20 to play here in the third. Mo Williams picks up his third. It was interesting. I remember when we were talking with Doc at the beginning of last season, Doug, he said, I told the guys, stay away in August. Don't come back here. We've won the championship. Let's take a deep breath here and get coming fresh in September. This year, with Wallace coming in, Marquise Daniels coming in, a healthy Garnett, they came in August to again get ready for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to get that title back.
Shot clock at 2. Good pass by Rondo. Pierce with James in his way, and a shot clock violation. That's the first on Boston in that regard tonight.
Something's going to have to happen here for Cleveland. They need a spark. This crowd is out of the game. They're down 15. Normally, this is when LeBron James, gives them a couple highlight plays, gets his crowd back into the game. He's been very quiet since that big start. He does have 16 points, but something has to happen here. They only have hit 2 threes tonight. Last year, they averaged 8 makes a game, which was a big part of their offense. Boston has done a great job defending the three-point line tonight.
Indeed they have. 2 of 7. 3-point shooting for the Cavaliers.
See, the clock is winding down against them.
Shaq inside. Perkins defending. Pass from LeBron James. James with another assist. He's got 5. And Shaq has got 10. He's the second Cavalier in double figures behind the 16 points of LeBron. Allen. Knocked away by Bergeau. Picked up by Mo Williams. Shaq a screen, the switch on defense. Perkins defending. James on the 3. Hustling rebound by Bergeau. Knocked away inside by Boston's defense. Quick hands. 7 turnovers for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Perkins. Bergeau got a hand on it.
Well, that's going to make Doc Rivers crazy there. Those unforced errors.
There's LeBron James. Garnett was there. Uncovered Parker for 3.
Good timeout here by Doc Rivers. His team has gotten sloppy. They had the lead. You get Shaq a dunk, 2 turnovers in a row, a 3 for Anthony Parker. Good timeout here for Doc Rivers. Get his team refocused.
Moments ago, Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, that's one of the few times he's gotten behind Kendrick Perkins. And then Anthony Parker on a broken play knocks down a 3, a 5-point little spurt here by Cleveland, trying to get themselves back into the game.
Background there, you see Cleveland Browns Stadium. There's the Jake down there in the bottom right-hand portion. Aerial coverage tonight provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires help you get there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. That's our score. Boston's led in this contest by as many as 15. Cavs by 14. 3-point shooting, so important for these teams. They were 1-2 a season ago, and tonight Boston has tried to use that 3 to their advantage.
Well, they're plus 12 points. Put that in perspective. Last year, Cleveland was plus 6 per game from behind the 3-point line. You saw how important it was. Now, Anthony Parker just knocked that down. That's their third. They averaged 8 3 makes a game. And Kevin, when they made more than their opponent last year, Cleveland, they were 44-6. That's how important that 3-point shot is to the spacing on the floor. Here's going to be a offensive foul on Paul Pierce, moving screen. So the plethora of turnovers here. This is what got Boston in trouble to start the game, the turnovers. What happens with Boston sometimes? They lose focus. They'll get a lead, and then all of a sudden they'll make 2 or 3 bad plays. I mean, Cleveland's very capable here of running off an 8, 9, 10-point run and being right back in this game. So, Boston's got to reclaim that focus they had over the last 2 periods.
Paul Pierce just picked up his 3rd personal foul. Here is James picked up by Allen. Sometimes Boston gets trigger happy too when they start losing their focus.
Sometimes get quick shots.
Parker picked up by Pierce. Shot clock at 6.
Tough shot right there.
Rondo. Boston 5 consecutive empty trips. Allen tries to change that, slashing to the rack, working on LeBron James.
I think Ray Allen just did the new NBA rule on walking. I'm kidding there. Now it's 2 steps. I mean, he just ran 3 steps, 4 steps with that ball. I mean, watch this here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, that. And then I think LeBron James felt that he had blocked that shot, so Ray Allen, who missed a free throw early in the game, stepping to the line, trying to knock down 2 here, sort of quell this run of Cleveland.
Put your hands together, America. George Lopez is bringing the party back to late night. Lopez tonight, weeknights at 11:10 Central, starting November 9th, only on TBS. You and I, a lot of people that admire his game, know how hard he works before the game. What a ritual.
Well, I was here about 2.5 hours early doing a little thing with NBA TV, Ernie and the guys, and he was out here shooting already. He has a ritual. He never goes away from it. He's an incredible worker, like our partner Reggie Miller. When you're a great shooter like that, it doesn't happen accidentally.
Nice knocked away by Rondo, chased by Williams. The turnover and the 2 at the other end. And points off turnovers, always something we pay attention to.
Well, again, when Boston clamps it down defensively, they get a steal, they get out, they get a couple scores, and that's when they're good. Again, it's those multiple defensive stops. When you talk to Doc, that's all he talks about.
Well, Williams forcing the issue. Allen was over there. Rondo was over there. A lot of rumors circulating about Rondo in the offseason, Doug. Was he going to be traded? Was he going to stay a Celtic? Was there frustration on the part of management and the coaches about his game? There's no doubt he is an emerging player in this league.
Well, Danny Ainge said, we love him, you know, but we're going to talk to him about we want him to continue to mature and be that point for a long time for our franchise. A lot of people are speculating whether or not they're going to, you know, not re-sign him, but extend his contract there. They up until October 31st to do that. And, you know, is it going to have ramifications one way or another if it doesn't? You know, you're a great player, Rondo. Just get out and play. The money will always be there. You play well, you'll always be rewarded. And you can't let that be in the back of your mind. You're on a team that has a chance to win a championship. What a great position you're in.
You just saw Williams at the line. He's there because Ray Allen picked up his second personal foul. And he's a first and second year player. It was great the way the veterans on this team really made him feel important on this ball club. As Allen puts up a 2, defended by Parker, tapped by Pierce, saved by Garnett. Garnett with 8, Rondo with 8, 14 by Ray Allen leads all Celtics, 14 points in 27 minutes. Nice move by Rondo. Rebound by Ilgauskas, who was just checked in the game.
Excuse me, Kevin. That's what we're going to see a lot against Cleveland this year. A lot of middle pick and rolls trying to get Ilgauskas and Shaquille O'Neal involved in that. With Rondo, they're going to give him that jump shot.
Parker for 3. Rebound by Paul Pierce. Williams hitting the deck hard, and Perkins picks up his second personal foul.
Now Kendrick Perkins that time just running over Mo Williams. Again, Doc Rivers is not happy. The turnovers that plagued them early in the first quarter has jumped up here again in the third period. They're able to fight it off, still leading by 12.
There's Mo Williams.
He's been very quiet tonight. That's only his second field goal. So Rondo's done a nice job on him defensively. Last year, an all-star, was their second option, played great in the regular season and really struggled in the playoffs.
He made the third most threes of any player in the NBA a season ago. That's a nice turnaround by Kevin Garnett, defended by Varejao. KG, 4 of 6, 10 points, 5 boards.
That's what happened. The championship Celtics, when they got in trouble, they dropped the ball in the post, calmed the game down, went through Garnett.
Yeah, I like that. You've always said that when Garnett, he can really kind of manipulate the speed.
Well, that's what happens. When you throw the ball in the post, you slow the game down.
Right. LeBron climbing inside. There is a foul. It is on Rondo, who picks up his second personal foul. He is a rugged kid who flies all over the floor. Here's a good looking sign about Garnett on that surgically repaired knee.
Now watch the great extension and the arc on that shot. There's a man sitting in our studio right now, Kevin McHale, that deserves a tremendous amount of credit, because when Garnett came into the NBA, he shot a flat shot. And Kevin McHale worked so hard with him lifting that shot. He is a very, very good mid-range shooter now.
Shot clock is down to 4. Across the lane, Varejao. Picked up by Paul Pierce, his 8th rebound. Allen for 3 in transition. James was defending.
That's okay, though. You know what? Doc Rivers doesn't mind that shot. I'll tell you why. You're up 12. You got your best three-point shooter. He knocks it down, you're up 15. So I don't think Doc Rivers minds that when Ray Allen takes that shot. Those are the kind of shot that really deflate a team if that goes in. Larry Bird was a master of that. He'd have you on the ropes. He'd come down and pull up and knock that shot down and sort of look over at your bench and say, Coach, you better get him out on me. That was way too slow there.
Perkins out. Wallace is in for Boston. And you're just talking about Mo Williams being quiet. He's hit 2 in a row here. He's got 10. Williams with 3 assists. So the 2 point guards. Williams has 10. Rondo has 8. Pierce for 3. Look at the hustle of Rondo.
Great offensive rebound.
Good fake by Allen. Biting it was Virajal. That's a 2 for Ray.
See what a deflating thing is, though. Rondo just tracks that ball down, gives you possession, and Ray Allen gets the jump shot. Instead of getting it down under double digits, they push it back to 12.
2.5 to play in the third. Weaving Williams. Virajal. Garnett with the steal. Allen from Pierce. James knocks it away again. He's got 4 blocked shots. Second time he's done that on a breakaway. Garnett and LeBron. Wallace saying, I've got your back. A 3. Garnett. Hit by Virajal.
Things starting to heat up a little bit here now, Coach Harlan. He had an incredible block once again by LeBron James. This is a 5-point play, really. When you look at it, it looks like it's an easy layup. Comes from behind. He's become the master of that. Watch this again. Does it with his left hand so he doesn't come across the body and foul, and then he squares up Kevin Garnett, who has to give him room, knocks that jump shot down. 5-point swing there instead of the layup. You get 3, and but the Celtics counter back quickly, and Kevin Garnett here gets fouled and going to the line to shoot a couple.
Virajal picked up his 4th personal foul. It had to be hard, Doug, for the Celtics a season ago when they lost Kevin Garnett. And the mentality to stay on that championship track because they lost their heart and soul. And you got to believe doubt crept into their minds at some time, maybe the entire time.
Well, you know, as much as you like to convince yourself, I don't think there was a guy in the Celtics, if you'd have put him under sodium pentothal, would have said that, you know, that they would have won the championship without him. I mean, it was just too tough. I mean, because, I mean, he was so heart and soul defensively. The game had to change. You know, their bench wasn't prepared to do what it had to be done at that point in time. That's why they've gone out and added depth so they can keep his minutes down. But as much as you try to get, you know, convince yourself you can win it, they had that 7-game series against Chicago that was amazing, and then actually had the 7-game series in Orlando and lost at home in the Garden when Orlando shot lights out. I think they had like 16 threes in the game and won an incredible Game 7 there in the Garden.
Rondo just picked up his 3rd personal foul, and he will leave. House is in. Marquise Daniels is in with Wallace, Garnett, and Pierce. That's the Boston 5. J.J. Hickson has come in. There's Mo Williams. House late with the defense. And Kevin Garnett smears the ball. Garnett has put in 7 in the quarter, 11 for the game, and KG has claimed 7 rebounds. Nauskas and James. Moon, Hickson, Williams. The miss outside. Wallace couldn't back it in. Rebound by Jamario Moon. And the alley-oop for Moon at the other end. A little ragged here. Finishing off the third, here is House. He's got a 3 in his pocket already in this game.
See, the risk reward on that pass was not good. When you're fighting uphill like this, every possession has got to be important to you to try to cut into this lead.
Wallace, the pass from Pierce on the look away. And the foul goes on Hickson, who picks up number 2.
Where LeBron has become the master of this, blocking shots from behind. Look at this on the overhead. What a beautiful block going over the top of Anderson Virajal. It's going to be interesting to see now. You don't always talk about substitutions, Kevin. Getting ready to go in here to the 4th quarter. Cleveland trailing by 10, possibly 12 or 13, or excuse me, maybe 11, 12 or 13 going into the 4th quarter. Do you rest LeBron? I mean, you got 4 games in 5 nights. You're down here. I mean, LeBron obviously, I mean, is he going to play the entire second half? That's why it's so important to try to play with a lead so you can give LeBron some rest.
Gibson has come in for Williams. Take a look at LeBron. Here's the upcoming national TV schedule. ESPN tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, New Orleans, San Antonio, then Utah, Denver. and the NBA on TNT Thursday. Doug and I will be in Chicago for the Spurs and Bulls, followed by Denver-Portland on NBA TV Sunday, 5:30 Eastern, New Orleans. And the same Boston Celtics as Wallace knocks him down. The Celtics from the free throw line tonight, 17 of 21. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, 11 of 13.
I think that's a big key. I thought that Cleveland would shoot a lot of free throws this year with Shaquille O'Neal and LeBron James. Tonight, Boston's done a great job of playing and keeping those guys off the foul line.
James with the drive. Talking about a guy who shoots free throws and usually completes three-point plays. Here's a guy who is good as anybody in the NBA a season ago in LeBron.
Look at this change of direction, just the power, the combination, the strength. Rasheed Wallace tries to reach in there and slap that ball loose, and look at LeBron, just cups it, sort of wraps it up like a running back going through the line so you can't fumble, and then uncurls at the basket and knocks it off the glass. What a beautiful play.
Rasheed Wallace just hit with his third foul. Sheldon Williams is in the game for the Celtics now, finishing off the final 44 seconds of our third quarter. There are no fouls to give either way.
Keep your eye on Eddie House here. He likes to screen on the ball and pop out and shoot a quick three if they don't cover it.
Spoon-fed Williams. He couldn't hang on to the Pierce pass. Moon, James, House holding on for dear life. Widen him inside. That's the first on Eddie House.
Eddie House is trying to say, I fouled him before he got in the act of shooting. Doesn't matter, Eddie. You're over the penalty right now.
Doug, we're looking at a couple teams tonight that are going to have big targets on their back all season long. You know, Boston had to play with that as the defending champion a season ago. Cleveland is now certainly in the upper echelon. Talked about an NBA championship last year and this year, certainly, and as long as LeBron is here, I mean, you got the big target on your back if you're a Boston Celtic or a Cleveland Cavalier.
Well, they're the best records right there. Three of the top four teams in the East, and all have tried to get better, made a lot of moves in the offseason to get better. The Lakers, really, the only thing they did was they added Ron Artest instead of Trevor Ariza. You know, I think also, too, getting Shaquille O'Neal, and I was reading some of the articles today, LeBron said, you know, one of the areas that Shaq is going to help me is he's going to take some of this media crunch away from me a little bit. There'll be a lot of the guys that are going to want to talk to him, and so he's going to help me in that way. And one of the things also that Cleveland's going to deal with all year long, Kevin, whether you like it or not, is LeBron going to be back here or is he not? I mean, it's going to be the topic of conversation, and I'm sure LeBron is not going to want to talk about it, but it's not going to go away.
Nope. Ray Allen is coming for Marquise Daniels. J.J. Hickson is left. Anthony Parker has come back in for the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's a 5-second difference from the game clock and the shot clock. Boston shooting 50% from the floor. Cavaliers 43.6. Wallace over Moon. Out of bounds. Off of Ilgauskas with 3 seconds on the shot clock.
There's Rondo again. A lot of people want to know, why is he a good offensive rebounder? And I'll tell you why. First of all, he's quick and he's got long arms and all. But nobody ever blocks him out because they're always gambling off him. So a lot of times he has a free run to the rim. And as a result of that, he gets in there and gets a lot of those loose balls. We saw one earlier where he got Ray Allen in the basket. You got a sideline out of bounds play, you get a score that could be the difference between maybe a 7 or 9 point lead or possibly a 10 if you knock in a 3.
Sheldon Williams for Eddie House. 7.9 on the big clock, 3 on the shot clock. Rondo. Williams. Shot clock went off.
24-second shot clock violation.
Boston has 7 turnovers, Doug, in this third quarter. They only had 2 in the second.
And remember, they had those turnovers in the first quarter.
Right.
It's one of the reasons why Cleveland got off to a good start. So Doc Rivers had talked to Cheryl Miller about that at the end of the first quarter. So again, getting sloppy, and you got to give credit to Cleveland. They were more aggressive on the defensive end.
Mo Williams has come in for Moon. Ray Allen has come in for Sheldon Williams.
I'm telling you, I put 2 guys on LeBron. I do not let him catch his ball. I've seen him do too many spectacular things. Marv and I were here that night. He hit that incredible shot against Orlando to even that series up at 1-1, but I would not let LeBron catch that basketball.
Excuse me, Daniels came in for Sheldon Williams.
5.7 seconds.
5.7, they put a full second back on the clock. James has 23, matching his jersey, 23 points in 33 minutes for LeBron. Daniels will be on him. Closing out the third. Oh! Just that close. He was the number one points in the paint guy for a good part of last season. Look how Cleveland closes out the third, Doug, on an 18-10 run.
Well, that got him back in the game. In the first half, it was all Boston closing out quarters. We're set up for a nice fourth period here. First game of the season on TNT.
NBA on TNT Premier Week is presented by AutoTrader.com. The Celtics, who have led by as many as 15, on top by 7. Moments ago, our Cheryl Miller caught up with last year's Coach of the Year in the NBA, Mike Brown.
Well, Coach, you told me at the half that you thought that the offense was stuck on one side. There wasn't great ball movement, and from a defensive standpoint, there were too many uncontested shots. Did you improve in both those areas?
We improved defensively a little bit. For a stretch there, we were bad, but we found a way as time went on, which was good to see. And then offensively, we're a little stagnant. Boston, you got to give them credit. They're doing a good job getting up in us, and we just have to make sure we execute our counters in this last quarter.
Well, both of you and Doc are trying to figure out how to use your new pieces. What would you like to see in the fourth quarter from your team?
You know, ball reversals offensively. And then, like I said, defensively, we want to make sure that we're physical. We're physical and we're contesting shots, and then we don't give these guys second opportunities.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. Starting the fourth. Here's Ilgauskas outside. Over and oncoming Sheldon Williams. The rebound by Marquise Daniels. Out there with Williams and Wallace, Allen and House. That's the Celtic 5. Boone is out there with Hicks and LeBron, Ilgauskas, Williams for the Cleveland Cavaliers.
You see, Mike Brown could not take LeBron out of the game, down 7, did not want this to push back to double digits. What Rasheed Wallace will do, though, he gives you great spacing. He will fade out on the floor. And Doc Rivers said something very interesting. He said, I think the energy that this team brings every single day is really going to help Rasheed Wallace. I think he's going to really be happy playing in this environment here in Boston. And I think Rasheed is still about 10 pounds too heavy. I think you're going to see him get in better shape as the season goes on. But the Spurs wanted him, the Celtics wanted him. All these teams that had a chance to win a championship wanted to bring Rasheed Wallace because of what he brings defensively, versatility-wise, and especially because he can knock those threes down at critical times.
Parker's come in for Hickson. Sheldon Williams just picked up his third personal foul. There are some traces of Boston's offense in Cleveland's offense.
Yeah, that's what Doc Rivers said. He said, watching the tape, he said, they're doing some of the things we do, slicing the guys to the post, and a couple things on the continuity.
James over Daniels. LeBron James with 25. That is a game high. Wallace's screen. House. Daniels conceded by Moon. That's a 3 by Marquise Daniels, who's come off the bench in 14 minutes and put in 7 points.
This might be their best three-point shooting crew right now, other than Paul Pierce. You got Eddie House, Ray Allen, Rasheed Wallace, and Marquise Daniels. So you got 4 guys out there that really stretch the floor.
3 by Williams. Rebound by Ilgauskas. Into Wallace. And a foul with 10:21 to play in the fourth. Rasheed has picked up number 4.
Now stepping up line with 2 shots for your Cavaliers, number 11.
And then here is Ilgauskas. So when you watch moments ago Marquise Daniels put in this 3, he falls in line with exactly what Doc Rivers wants. The guys that can shoot the 3, high basketball IQ, which is so much a part of every player on this Boston team.
Well, you think when they won the championship, remember a big part of their closing team was James Posey. And he had over 100 threes that year, and he gave him a versatile defender. Last year, losing Posey, they'd only had 3 guys make over 100 threes in a season, as opposed to 4. I think this year you're going to see Boston add to that three-point shooting. And Kevin, it's become such an important part of the NBA game because of the spacing on the floor. If you want to play in the post, if you want to have driving lanes, you got to have spacing. And to do that, you have to have guys who can make three-point shots.
Just saw a shot of Paul Pierce on the bench. He did not score in the third. Here is a 3 by Wallace. Big-time 3. Doug, you're talking about spacing. You're talking about the big men shooting like Rasheed. 9 of 15 three-point shooting tonight for the Boston Celtics over the Cleveland Cavaliers, plus 15 points above the arc, beyond the arc. Braun is 9 of 16 overall. Daniels in his way. Ilgauskas over Wallace.
That's what Big Z can do. Last year he made 15 threes. In critical situations, they would put him in the opposite three-point course, so when LeBron would drive, he would throw to him, and Z knocked down many big shots from that three-point line in the corner.
House. Williams defending. That's through the hands of Sheldon Williams. And turnover number 14 for the Boston Celtics compared to 9 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Shaq is going to come back in for Verejao. Moon is coming back in to the bench. Shaq will take his place. So Shaq and Ilgauskas on the floor at the same time.
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Now remember now, Z will roll out and shoot it. Shaq will go and get into the low post position. So Cleveland got to be very aware of the personnel now that's on the floor.
They have not played together much. In fact, there was some confusion who Shaq was replacing. Here's Parker. Rebound by Wallace. Ilgauskas thought maybe he was going to be yanked there for a second, but it was Moon who left and Shaq who comes in. House for three. He's hit one from long distance tonight. Looking at Shaq's line, Doug, he's got 10 points. Shaq has not taken a free throw tonight. He's played 20 minutes.
I think that was a big key for Boston. Keep him off the foul line. Keep Cleveland out of the penalty. As a result, Boston's winning the battle of the free throw line.
Look at Rasheed Wallace, who's come off the bench, played 19 minutes, has 12 points and a bunch of threes.
You know, Kevin, we were talking the other day when we were doing an exhibition game. I said that 4 spot in the NBA is becoming so much more of a skill position. It's really not a power position anymore, and that's what it is right now. You see rolling out and shooting the shot. Now, Rasheed Wallace will post up, but about 50% of his shots now in his career come from behind that three-point line. I think as the year goes on, they will post him more, because I think he's a terrific post player. He has a tendency sometimes, if you front him, to drift out on the floor when you try to take away his post position. But I think Doc Rivers will post him more this year.
35-year-old Rasheed Wallace coming off a career low 42% from the field with the Detroit Pistons. Allen into both Shaq and James with the clock at 8:36.
Cavaliers foul on number 23.
LeBron picks up his second personal foul.
Ray Allen's a little disappointed himself there. He was going to go up, and he didn't know if the foul was going to be called or not. So at the last second, he tried to pass the ball. Had he heard the whistle, being the veteran he is, he would have attempted to take the shot. So instead, it's going to be sideline out of bounds.
Allen leads Boston with 16. 13 from Pierce. Garnett's got 11. 25, a game high from LeBron James. Allen over Ilgauskas. Big Z cleans it coming off the bench. He's got 4 points in 19 minutes for the Cavs.
Still plenty of time right now. Cleveland's a very good defensive team. They've got a chance to get some defensive stops and get right back. The key is continuing to score.
LeBron into Perkins. Perkins number 3. LeBron will be at the line. And there were few players that got to the line more last season than LeBron James, number 3 overall.
Well, let's take a look at the plus-minus meter tonight. It's been all Boston. See the bench, and that was really in the first half, the bench. In the second half, it has not been a factor. They basically played even, but those three-point shots, again, that came in the second quarter when they were plus 15 in that second quarter when they outscored Cleveland 30-17. Fast break points. And Boston's a team that doesn't run for layups. They run for transitional threes. And that's where Eddie House, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce have knocked them down here tonight.
Log on to NBA.com/NBA TV to vote for the November 3rd Fan Night Game of the Week on NBA TV. Voting ends at midnight Thursday. Let your voice and your choice be heard. And watching the great emergence of Cleveland last year. 2 years ago, they went 45 wins to last year 66 plus 21 wins. A very connected Cleveland team.
And they're right back in this game. Now they got to call on their defense. This is when your defense has to be able to get the stops that's necessary to get out and maybe get some easy baskets. Mike Brown knows that if he has to keep grinding this game out in the half court, Boston is so good. You have a tendency to want to hold the ball and get stagnant. Against Boston, you've got to move the ball and cut and pass and get that ball from side to side.
Perkins in for House, and second foul went on Ilgauskas. Paul Pierce has come in the game. So Garnett, Pierce, Allen, Rondo, and Perkins. Starting five out there for the Boston Celtics. Again, no points in the third quarter for Paul. He's gotten a good rest here to start before. Shot clock is down to 4. Pierce guarded by Parker. Rebound by LeBron James, his second.
Paul Pierce had 13 in the first half. He has not scored here, and remember we talked about his woes of playing here in Cleveland last year. The 2 games here did not play well.
We mentioned before that Boston as a team hasn't won here since December of 04. 8 straight regular season losses. 3 losses in the playoffs. Foul goes on Garnett for the first time at 7:37 of the fourth. Gibson, Ilgauskas, James, Shaq, and Parker, the Cleveland 5. LeBron, Perkins knocked it away. Shot clock at 3.
Well, you can see what LeBron is doing right now. He's just going to drive that ball. He's going to put the pressure on that Boston defense to try to get to the foul line. So this last 7:25, really interesting. LeBron tried to go in there, and Kevin Garnett did a nice job getting a piece of that ball.
And that was thrown away by the Cavaliers. So turnover number 10 for the Cavs. And Perkins will give it off to Rondo as you take a look at LeBron. And the points off turnovers right there. Rondo has 10 assists tonight. James has 8 for the Cavs. Garnett, trailed by Ilgauskas, finding Perkins. Gibson, James. Ilgauskas got back of Garnett, and a little hold was in there. That was on Kevin. Garnett picks up number 2. You've had a chance now to digest a little bit of Shaq, Ilgauskas on the floor at the same time. We didn't see a lot of it in the preseason. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a situation where transition defense is going to be a problem, because when you play those 2 guys together, as the Doc Rivers is going to tell his big guys, you run every possession and try to make those guys keep up with you. So I think if you're going to see this, it's going to be in very short doses, Kevin.
TNT this December, a story about life on the other side of the middle. Don't miss Ray Romano and the new series premiere of Men of a Certain Age. Comes your way December 7th at 10, 9 Central, only on TNT. There goes Gibson. Here comes Mo Williams.
So it's a penalty now for Cleveland. Will shoot free throws the rest of the night. Boston over the limit. So we'll take a look now. We talked about that free throw line, how it could be so important. So LeBron is going to lower that shoulder, try to get to the basket, try to get fouled, see if they go inside the Shaq. You only want to foul him to prevent him from getting a dunk. You just don't want to take needless fouls.
Rondo over Shaq. Rebound by James. This is as close as it has been in the second half. A margin of 5. Parker. Shaq. Rondo. Boston has missed 5 in a row. They come the other way. Oh! Garnett wound it up. Out of bounds off of Cleveland. It seemed like seconds ago, Doug, we were saying that Boston has taken 8 more free throw shots than the Cavaliers. Now look who's taken more free throws. Cleveland by 1.
Kevin Garnett here trying to rise up over the top of Big Z. Could not get that to go. I think you're still seeing Kevin trying to get his legs back from being off for 6 months.
Boston has not hit anything from the field in 3.5 minutes. Garnett over Ilgauskas. LeBron James, rebound number 4. That's a charge on LeBron. And LeBron agrees with him. 3rd on James.
We got a great matchup here in the 4th quarter. LeBron James and Paul Pierce, 2 great offensive players and 2 very proud defenders. LeBron James looks over Tony Brothers, said good call, but Paul Pierce, who's their money guy, is being guarded by LeBron James. So these 2 guys are trying to nullify each other on the defensive end.
Both made the all-defensive team a year ago. LeBron the first team, Pierce the second. 5:52 to play here in the fourth.
Calls on the Cavaliers, number 23, LeBron.
James just picked up his fourth personal foul. They'll talk about it. Boston by 5, halfway through the fourth on TNT. Here we go, 5:52 to play in the fourth quarter. Rondo, Perkins, Allen, Garnett, and Pierce out there for the Celtics. Shot clock at 9, Ray Allen. James and Pierce go tussling for the ball. Paul Pierce, with the collision, picks up his fourth personal foul.
Well, you like the hustle. The problem is you're shooting free throws, and that's why it's so important to try to stay out of that penalty so early, especially when you're playing against LeBron James, because when he gets that situation, he knows he's going to go to the foul line. Kevin, he's going to put the pressure on the defense every single time down the floor. So, Paul Pierce trying to get himself back into this game. He had 13 at halftime, still only 13, 3 of 10, and we talked about how he struggled here in Cleveland last year in 2 games, averaging almost 12.5 points a game.
Here we have LeBron at the free throw line, and tonight from the stripe, 7 of 10, game high 27 points. He really benefited last year, and will, of course, this year with good scoring guards, huh?
Yeah, Delonte West and Mo Williams. Mo is on the floor. Delonte West obviously is not here for personal reasons, so going a long time here with Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Shaq. Mike Brown must like what he sees.
Cleveland on a 7-0 run. Perkins was inside, grinding his way, and that stops that 7-0 burst by the Cavs. Williams picks up number 4 for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here's Pierce again with the drive.
Well, great pass, and Mo Williams has got to be very disappointed with himself here. He sort of tried to wrap up Kendrick Perkins, did not get the job done, gave him the layup and a chance for a three-point play. You got to take that foul so hard there that he cannot get his arms above his shoulders, and instead he gets a three-point play.
Cleveland has not scored from the field in about 4 minutes. Shaq and Perkins. Shaq hit his first 3 shots of the game. Now he's 5 of 11.
Well, again, Perkins doing a nice job making him make shots. Shaq only has 1 dunk in the game tonight. Take away his layups and dunks, make him make shots.
Garnett. Kevin is 4 of 9. And the shooting this quarter. Over Garnett, James. LeBron's got 31.
His shot really looks good. Kevin, it really looks good. Consistent. Every release is the same. He's really worked hard at paying attention to detail with that jump shot.
8 points in the quarter for LeBron. Here's Rondo finding Allen. Allen against Parker. Shot clock at 4. Perkins left uncovered. Parker the rebound. Holman carried the ball. Dribbling violation on LeBron James. Another turnover by the Cavaliers, number 12 to the 14 of Boston.
Oh, that's definitely a carry. It's going to be interesting coming out of this timeout. Are you going to see Rasheed Wallace in place of Perkins? I think Boston might need another offensive player right now. It's like Perkins are laying off him. He's getting the shots. Let's see if we see Rasheed Wallace out of this timeout.
NBA on TNT Premier League presented by AutoTrader.com continues next. The world champion Los Angeles Lakers receive their championship rings. Then they begin the defense of their title by taking on the Clippers at the Staples Center. Coming up next, right here on TNT. Doug, you thought you might see Rasheed Wallace. Sure enough, here he comes in at the 4:13 mark of the fourth.
Well, they were roaming off Kendrick Perkins. They can't roam off Rasheed Wallace. He's going to be out behind that three-point line. If you leave him, he'll knock it down. So now the spacing changes. They go to a pick and roll. Shaq does not get out quickly enough on Paul Pierce. He knocks down his first 2 points here in the second half.
And his first since 5 minutes left in the second quarter. 15 for the game for the captain. LeBron is 10 of 18. Shaq caught it in stride. Rams his way into Kevin Garnett, who picks up the foul, number 3 on KG. And here comes Shaquille O'Neal, Doug, his first free throw attempts of the game. All right, now let's take a look at the Autotrader.com play of the game. You see Rondo. As the first free throw by Shaq was missed.
That's a good foul by Garnett. Late in the game, you cannot let Shaq dunk the ball or lay the ball in. Kendrick Perkins got a three-point play. They let him lay the ball in the basket. You got to take fouls. The good hard foul, Shaq misses both free throws. So good play by Garnett.
LeBron has 8 in this fourth quarter. Ilgauskas has 6. They've accounted for all the Cleveland scoring in this fourth. Pierce, Rasheed tees up a 3. And Shaq is there to claim it inside. Rebound number 8 with his 10 points.
You see the money play going pick and roll with Pierce. That time they helped off of Rasheed Wallace and had a 3, just couldn't get it to go.
Kicked out of bounds by Pierce. Kick save and a good one.
You know, when the Celtics won the championship, when you gave them a 6-point lead with 3:15 to go, it was almost like a 12-point lead. That's how tough they were to score on. So let's see if Cleveland can manufacture enough offense here to win this basketball game.
Zhao is in for Ilgauskas. Approaching 3 to play. Cavaliers are shooting 41% from the floor. Parker over Allen. Rebound by Paul Pierce. With his 15 points, Pierce has collected 9 boards. Boston is shooting 44%. Shot clock at 7.
Wow.
Garnett puts in a difficult shot.
What a tough. Shaq played great defense on that play. Just a terrific shot, fading away off the glass.
KG has 13. Williams with the drive. And the foul, 2.5 in regulation. Boy, the degree of difficulty on this is something.
Shaq actually plays a great defense. He slides his feet. Look at him. He goes up, bodies up, and off the glass. What a tough shot by Kevin Garnett. But, Kevin, we talked earlier in the telecast, you know, one of the money plays for the Celtics late in games was dropping that ball into the post to Kevin Garnett when they won the championship. And if he didn't score, guys cutting off of him, finding the open man. But what a difficult shot.
Rondo just picked up his 4th personal foul. That sends Mo Williams to the free throw line. You just saw the numbers on Garnett. Points in the paint, such a huge Cleveland advantage early. Now a difference of 4 points, plus 4 for the Cavs. Boston still 12 points better beyond the arc than Cleveland. Rondo to KG. Shaq is there. Shot clock at 7. Intercepted. LeBron. Pierce defending. Paul Pierce, number 5.
Shaq taking the challenge once again. They go back to Garnett, and Garnett gets caught in a tough position. He leaves his feet, and LeBron James does a nice job of shooting the gap, getting into that passing lane. Just see the strength here. Paul Pierce almost trying to tackle him, and he still gets that ball up over his shoulder.
LeBron from the line, 8 of 11. We've been trying to keep track of minutes because that is what Doc Rivers said he was going to do, keep track of the minutes played. And in particular, Garnett coming back from the knee surgery. They wanted to limit him at 30. He's already played 31.
I think right now, Doc said we can win this game. I'll try to cut his minutes back the next game if I possibly can. Right. What you don't want to do is get in a pattern of doing that where that builds up, especially early in the season when he's trying to get his strength back.
James with 33. Pierce. Rasheed over Farajao. Rebound by Shaquille O'Neal. Taken by Rondo. Allen tees up a 3. Rondo comes up with a great rebound inside. Shaq gets the ball. Pierce hits the deck hard. Rondo hits the deck hard. For 3. And Pierce claims it. Boston will take a 4-point lead with $1.15 in ticket. Garnett the screen, opening for Pierce. That's his sweet spot right there.
What they do, they went to pick and roll, got Shaq involved. He tried to show out on Paul Pierce. He crossed him over, got right to the foul line. That's one of the things that they're going to deal with this year, Cleveland. Late in games, getting Shaq involved in the pick and roll. He jumps out. Pierce, a little crossover dribble, gets to the foul line, knocks it down. The Celtics by 6 with 1:03 to go.
Ernie Johnson in Atlanta still got a little over a minute to play in Cleveland as Doc Rivers' Celtics try to hang on to the lead over the Cavs. Meantime, 14 minutes from now, Kobe Bryant and his Laker teammates will receive their championship rings. You will see it live here on TNT. Right now, back to the cue, Kev.
EJ, thank you very much. Moments ago, the guys in charge of basketball operations, Danny Ainge, foul Shaq. Well, the free throw shooting in this fourth quarter has been something to see just because of the disparity. Boston has taken 1 free throw and hit it. Cleveland has taken 14 free throw attempts in the fourth, hit 11.
Well, they got a penalty at the 6:51 mark, so they started driving to the basket. Shaq missed 2, LeBron missed 1, so 11 of 14. Let's see if they can free LeBron up here. Looks like he's going to be guarded by Marquise Daniels.
Daniels comes in for Pierce. Through the hands of Parker. One of the new starters starts at the 2 guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavaliers, Doug, have gone 4 minutes without getting any points from the floor. Timeout at 53.4 to play. Cleveland has 14 turnovers for the game, but 5 in the fourth quarter.
Remember what I said, defense wins. These are 2 of the best teams in the league tonight. Boston, just a little bit better.
2 hours ago, Doug, you unveiled your keys for this game, a very important game for both Boston and Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland got off to a great start. Boston on their heels, turning the ball over. That was turned around in the second quarter when they hit 5 threes and went up at halftime. And then Shaq has had a nice night tonight, 10 points, 10 rebounds. Rasheed, 12 points. You see stretching that defense, 3 of 6 from three-point. And the storyline done a nice job defending the 3 last year. Cleveland made 8 threes a game. Tonight only 5, plus 12 points there from behind the three-point line. And unless something dramatic happens here, it's going to be a triumphant return for Kevin Garnett as he plays his first game since he injured that knee and missed about 6 months.
Pierce has come in for Daniels. Shot clock down to 10. They got Jamario Moon in the game now. He's come in for Shaq. Verjao on the switch goes out on Paul Pierce. Pierce has got 19 points and 11 rebounds. 6 of his 19 in this quarter. Verjao bumping into Wallace inside with the Rasheed Wallace foul. That is number 5. 25.8 to play.
How about Paul Pierce, though? He'd been quiet the entire second half and came up with the 2 biggest shots for the Celtics to really give them this cushion. And that's why they call him the Truth, and that's why he was the MVP Finals when they won the championship.
You're right. He didn't score in the third. And here he comes right now as you try to manage minutes for both these coaches with both these teams. That's going to be a chore unto itself. There's a lot of talent on both teams.
I think the big thing for Mike Brown right now is just getting this team in sync offensively. They got off to a good start, but when they had to go to their bench, they got real stagnant, especially when LeBron went out of the game. So they just got to feel each other out.
And LeBron James at 17 seconds remaining makes it a 5-point game and a quick foul called on Verjao in backcourt as he was watching Paul Pierce. Verjao's got 5. So we'll walk to the other end of the floor with the Celtics on top, 91-86. They've led by as many as 15. Cleveland led by as many as 14 early. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. New Fuel Max tires help you get there on less gas. Calculate your savings at GoodyearTires.com. Doug, just following up on the bench scoring. You've been talking about Boston out scoring the Cleveland bench tonight, 26-10.
And really, the first half is when that turned, 17-2 in the first half. And you heard Paul Pierce talking about it and saying what a big lift that bench gave them. And then when they came back in, they picked up the slack, from when they got off to that slow start. So it's going to be a big win for Boston. Remember now, Cleveland last year won their first 23 home games before they lost to the Lakers. They were 39-2. They lost the last game of the year to Philadelphia. So this is a loss here at home. These people are not used to see the Cavaliers losing at home.
Yep, 39-2 a season ago. We'll take a break. 15 seconds to play in our game here in Cleveland. Well, Doug, you said early in the game, defense ahead of offense. Certainly that's the case for a lot of teams around the NBA, and it looks like Cleveland trying to figure out their offense over their defense, most assuredly.
Well, that's usually the rhythm part. I mean, defense, there's a lot of trust and communication and hard work and will in it, but offense is so much precision, and right now these guys just don't know each other. We saw LeBron penetrate, throw it to Anthony Parker, went through his hands out of bounds.
That's a three by LeBron. 4-point game, 12 seconds to play. Pierce is fouled, and LeBron has put in 38. Boston led by 6 at halftime. They start the third quarter, Doug, the Celtics do, on a 10-2 run. Cleveland is as close now as they have been in the second half. 4 points is as close as they have been, so I'll walk to the other end of the floor and shoot some Celtic free throws. And you can see that home record we just talked about for Cleveland last year, the best ever, that 85-86 Bird, McHale, Parrish, all those great players on that 40-1 home team. Only loss was Portland in the old Boston Garden. Paul Pierce at the line, 7 of 8 tonight. From the stripe, 22 points and 11 rebounds. Rondo finishes with 10 assists, 10 rebounds for Garnett. As he comes back, a double-double for KG. He had the 13 points. So Boston, which last year had the third best record in the NBA overall at 62-20. And they had a heck of a start to last year, too, overall. Remember, the Celtics started 27-2 last season. They really had a great start. Pierce has 10 in this fourth quarter. Here is James for three, guarded by Pierce, picked up by Rondo, and the Celtics have won in Cleveland for the first time since December of 2004. They had lost 8 straight in the regular season here, and Danny Ainge and Doc Rivers win it 95-89. And they do it against the Cavaliers, a team that they know throughout the season, and certainly at the end of the day, they will see in the playoffs, and they'll be jockeying for a position in the Eastern Conference.
Well, it's a big win, too, because, you start thinking about tiebreakers. I mean, very likely these teams could possibly tie for, records in the regular season. If so, then that tiebreaker. So you come in and get a game on the road. That's a big win for Boston tonight.
How about Kevin Garnett? 33 minutes, 13 points, 10 rebounds. He is standing by with our Cheryl Miller.
Thank you. Well, KG, it's the first game back since your knee injury. You hit the deck a few times, but physically, how'd you feel out there?
Feel good. I feel like first time I made the AAU team, that's what I feel like. I feel eager. I was excited. I had to calm myself down, but all in all, I thought I gave everything I had and felt good tonight.
You said it felt like your first AAU game. Yeah. When you missed that dunk, was it like that?
Something like that. I'm still getting cobwebs and all type of dust off my game, but I'm happy to be out here. I'm happy to be healthy. Good night, we won. That was a big thing. You know how I go.
Paul Pierce said that even though it's the first game, it was going to be a measurement game for you. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. Cleveland's gotten better. Orlando's gotten better. Washington's gotten better. Atlanta's gotten better. The East has gotten better. We're trying to measure ourselves, see where we at. We're trying to get our things straight and tighten our bolts and all that good stuff. We're not perfect at all, and we're a team in process, so in progress. And tonight was a great test for us, and I thought we did a good job.
And you'll get better. All right, Kevin, let's send it back to you.
Smell good, girl. Smell good.
LeBron James had 38. Paul Pierce had 23. Rasheed Wallace off the bench in his Celtic debut had 12. Our producer has been Scott Cockrell. Our director, Lonnie Dale. Special thanks to Jeff Paris, Sammy Polis, and Pat McGrath. For Doug Collins, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Cleveland. Up next, the Lakers get their championship rings. They'll take on the Clippers here on TNT.